Greetings, wonderful people. It's me, Shimon, and you're listening to yet another tech podcast. Well, welcome back. Long time no see. It's been like 1 week. So today I'm being joined by a technology journalist who's also a big aviation geek. Well, you guessed it. It's Shivam Vahia from GadgetMatch. So today we'll be discussing a plethora of topics under the wing of aviation. Smooth pun right there. So there's everything for someone or the other. If you're an aviation geek, you'll come to know some bits which you may or may not know. And if you're someone who doesn't know anything about aviation, well, you're welcome as well. You will learn something or the other. We're discussing about like frequent flyer programs, what kind of different aircrafts are out there, and if you're curious, when exactly should you book tickets for your vacation? Although, given the situation of this current global pandemic, you shouldn't really be planning a vacation, but still, hey, no harm in getting some more knowledge, is there? But before we go any further, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for your immense support. I know 2020 has been quite an unprecedented year, and do not forget, we are in this together. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. This was recorded in a public place before the lockdown and the whole global pandemic thing happened. So if we sound funky, that's because we're trying really hard to record in a quiet environment, but it wasn't. I did my absolute best to sprinkle some unicorn magic and reduce the noise. Too bad Arctic's voice didn't exist back then. But it's fine, I did the needful and it doesn't sound distracting now. So okay, I won't hold you back anymore. Let's continue with the episode.
Hey everyone, so this is Shivam Vahia. I'm actually a technology journalist, but also a huge aviation fan, or an av geek, like we like to call it. And flying is like my passion. It has always been a passion for the last decade, I think. And just last year, I thought of writing more about aviation and joined up with the folks at CNBC TV 18.
That's amazing. So here's another traditional question I ask everyone. What's your daily driver currently?
So since yesterday it is the Poco X2, but before that it used to be the Redmi Note 8 Pro and the Mi A3, because like I told you earlier, I'm really lazy about moving phones. So I try to avoid gadget reviews. Like, I shouldn't be saying this, but I try to avoid gadget reviews. And if I'm just having a phone that's working fine and can get all my tasks done, I don't really care which brand, which processor, or whatever it has. I don't really care about it.
So as someone who knows nothing about aviation, I just know that a plane just flies in the air. How would you explain the whole realm of aviation? Like what really excites you about it?
So with aviation, it's more like obviously the feeling of flying as high as possible. Like I have this saying that flying is the highest you can ever get a high.
Wow.
No drugs, no alcohol will ever get you that high. And that could be because I'm a huge fan of the color blue. Like, I really love that color, and whenever I'm flying and I look out of the window, everything is so blue. So that's something from the psychological point of view, but from the technical point of view, I'd say aviation is a miracle. Like 100 years back, humans couldn't fly. A human had never flown before planes were born. And if you look at it today, aviation is aviation is the safest mode of transportation. If you consider it against trains, cars, bikes, anything else on this planet, aviation is the safest. And it's because there's so much engineering going behind that. Like, in very raw terms, a plane is basically a metal tube having two metal wings and a tail. And if you imagine that metal tube is being pushed or pulled forward by two massive engines, it's I can't put this down.
It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it's very fascinating for me because come on, that thing is generating around at least 100 kilonewtons of thrust. And if you stand in front of that, you're gonna be crushed into pieces.
Quite literally.
Quite literally, yeah.
Since like you're an aviation geek, have you ever thought about flying a plane? Like ever think like, oh, when you were small, like I want to be a pilot.
So I'll tell you. So when I started out, I was like I think in ninth or 10th standard, around 15, 16 years old, and I was thinking that which professional career should I pursue? And at that time, I wanted to be a pilot. Like that was my first choice. I searched up so many academies in New Zealand, America, Europe, and ultimately around the same time Kingfisher happened. Like it just crash landed because of its financial problems, and the whole aviation market has never been too encouraging in India. So everyone was like, find something else. This is a risky career because obviously you're putting in like one crew, 1.5 crew just to train yourself and fly an aircraft. And after that, if you can't find a job, you are in deep trouble. So, back then I just put my whole plan of flying on a back burner, and my second passion would be technology. And I was really good with coding, so I thought of pursuing computer science engineering. But today, so just a week back, I was in the Philippines right now on a 2 week long vacation, and my flight from Cebu City to Siargao Island was operated by an ATR 72. That's like a turboprop aircraft.
Okay.
And it was my first time on that particular aircraft, so it was very exciting. And secondly, the view out of the window, the whole flight was too blue. I can't describe that feeling. Like I had tears in my eyes because of the happiness. Like the cabin crew came and she asked me, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, don't worry about me. I've never been this all right ever in my life." And then I had this idea that I want to get myself tattooed. So on my left arm I have VT, Victor Tango written, and that means every aircraft registered in India, it starts with VT.
Okay.
Just like we have DL for Delhi cars, MH for Maharashtra cars,
Okay.
it's VT for Indian aircrafts.
Okay.
And it's followed by VT dash, AAA, ABC, XYZ, whatever, 3 digits of a alphabet.
Yeah.
So that's how it goes, and my goal right now is that I want to get myself a pilot license, at least a private pilot license by the time I turn 25.
That's amazing.
And someday, whether I don't care whether it takes 10 years, 20 years or 50 years, but someday I'll buy myself a plane.
Wow, amazing.
Someday.
That's great. So, I've seen you like post about different kind of planes, like so and so model and so and so.
Right.
So I have no idea, but say Indigo and other airlines, do they use the same plane?
Okay, so I'll tell you. You remember Jet Airways, right? Jet Airways was the largest operator of the Boeing 737 in India. A 737 is now categorized as a next generation family. That's how they market it. So 737-700, 800, 900 and 900ER. These are the 4 plane models that are included in the next generation family. And these are quite old, I would say almost 20-25 years old now.
How are the next generation then?
Actually, aviation, it doesn't really matter, because even if you take up 50-year-old technology, it will still be next generation for aviation.
Okay.
The US Air Force has cargo aircrafts which are literally more than 50 years old right now,
Wow.
but they are still fit to fly and they can still complete their objectives. So in a similar sense, Jet Airways had the B737 next generation family, and when they crashed, SpiceJet was the only other carrier in India which was operating the B737 at a larger scale. So they quickly swooped in, took up all the aircrafts that aircraft. One thing, aircrafts is a wrong word.
Oh,
It
is
doesn't
it?
exist.
Wow.
For singular or plural, it's aircraft.
Okay, so there is no plural.
There is no plural.
Okay.
So again, back to the point. So SpiceJet grabbed all the B737s that they had, and today SpiceJet is the biggest Boeing operator in India. Other than that, Air India Express, it's a subsidiary, low-cost subsidiary of Air India. Even they operate the B737, but I'm not sure about the numbers, but it's a very small quantity.
Okay.
So not a quantity that would matter as such if you look at the whole industry. Now coming to Go Air, Indigo, and Vistara, and AirAsia. All of these 4 operate the Airbus A320.
Okay.
And A320 has 2 families. It's called the CEO family, it's current engine option, and the Neo family. the new engine option.
Okay.
So the CEOs are a competitor of B737 next generation.
Okay.
They go hand in hand. And the Neo actually is the latest aircraft with the latest engines, and it goes up against the Boeing Max series.
Okay.
The Max series that just got grounded because of 2 crashes. That's the series. So in India, Indigo majorly has the A320 CEO, but now they are in the phase of removing out older aircrafts and bringing in new Neos so that they have more efficiency. Just to give you a fact, compared to a CEO, a Neo is at least 10 to 15 times more energy efficient. So you know how crazy oil prices are in India, and they are a majority cost for the airline as far as expenses go. So 15% more efficient engine means 15% more profits.
Correct. That's true. So, here's something fascinating. I mean, I'm curious about this. Is it possible to have an all-electric aircraft?
No.
No?
It's definitely not possible because there have been a few prototypes right now which are being which have like huge solar panels on their wings, and I think there were a few records also made where that particular aircraft flew around the globe, but it's a very small aircraft. I wouldn't even call it an aircraft, to be honest. It's more like a glider because it just carries 1 to 2 passengers.
Okay.
Out of them, one of them is the pilot, so it's not technically a passenger. But the point is that to run an aircraft turbine or the jet engine, you require a lot of thrust.
Okay.
A lot of thrust, and that thrust can be generated by a battery, but that battery will not sustain. I don't think it can sustain more than 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, I see.
That's why aviation will be on aviation turbine fuel or fossil fuels for the next 50 years.
Wow.
My lowest estimate would be 50 years, at least.
Oh, interesting.
Practically speaking, even more. And it's an interesting question because when you consider the environment, the cars are always guzzling gases.
Correct.
But a very lesser known fact is that aviation is also one of the most energy efficient industries because the jet engine, even though it drinks more fuel, it will get you to your place 4 to 5 times faster than a car's top speed.
Correct.
Which means you're getting there faster, and bigger planes carry more passengers. So if you look at it from a per seat,
That's a really interesting insight. Yeah.
From a per seat point of view, it's super efficient. And it's the major gas that is usually expelled out is carbon dioxide. It's not really a poisonous gas for humans because if you have enough plants, you can absorb it all. The actual problem comes when you have nitrous oxide, sulfur dioxide, or CFCs. Modern planes don't emit these in large quantities.
Okay.
So I see a lot of these arguments online that frequent flyer programs should be shut down because they encourage us to fly more, and when we are flying more, we are polluting more. Well, yes, I won't say aviation doesn't pollute. It does. It definitely does. But if you really want to cut down on pollution, cutting down on aviation is not going to help it. You need to first get your cars in order, your industries in order. Well, for India, I would say get your stubbles in order.
True.
There are more better priorities to focus on, and it's easier to blame aviation for this because it's a highly regulated industry. And when you say aviation, you include everything. But when I say blame someone else, blame the industries. Industries could be anything, small scale, large scale, maybe even a farmer. That's why it's easy to pinpoint a target on aviation, but I genuinely feel that's the wrong thing to do right now.
Although I do see some people saying like private planes should be shut down, they should be forced to fly on a public plane. I mean, just to spend fuel on a personal flight.
That's a very interesting argument because I have like 2 sides to it. One is like, it's easy for us to look at a charter plane and imagine that wow, he's flying in a charter plane, how convenient. But you don't understand that the people who are flying in charter planes also hold that much power and responsibilities. Like, I don't expect Mukesh Ambani, the chairman of, I don't know what he is, I think he's chairman, CEO, whatever he is of Reliance Industries. Shit, I'm ashamed for this. Okay, but whatever he is, he's filthy rich, and I don't expect him to stand in a queue at Mumbai Airport Terminal 1 to catch a flight on Indigo to go to Delhi, because he will be spending 2 to 3 hours in the terminal itself, plus at least 2.5 hours to go to Delhi. Well, he could just take a charter flight and reach Delhi, and that would save him at least 2 to 3 hours. On the whole journey, he'll be saving up around 2 to 3 hours.
So for those people, it's like time is money.
Time is money for them, and I'm fine with it. Like, come on, they've earned it.
So it's like sometimes you think like maybe you have to maintain a moral balance, but then, like I said, time is money for them, so
Time
they
is
have to
money for
squeeze
them.
as much as they can.
Yes, and if you look at our current country structure, it is the private industries who are leading everything. Like, I don't expect the government to take a lead on anything over here as far as economics or industrial growth is concerned. And if actual industrialists, private citizens, are ready to take up the challenge and give out like 10,000 jobs to people or lakhs of jobs to people, I don't know, man. I think they've earned it. They should be using it. And just saying nothing against anyone, but even as an ordinary citizen, you and me, I'm pretty sure we pollute more unknowingly.
Okay, since we're talking about airlines and stuff, among all of the airlines present in India, without any bias, who do you think are like in the top 3 right now in terms of like everything, not
So I'll
specific
tell you
services?
the 2 different structures before I start off. In India, there are 2 different airline business models operating.
Okay.
One would be of FSC. It's called a full service carrier.
Okay.
A full service carrier would be Vistara, Air India, and previously Jet Airways. These carriers basically have their product as in-flight comfort.
Okay.
It's like we'll give you free meals, free drinks, coffee, tea. If it's an international flight, alcohol. You'll get better terminals at airports like Mumbai and Delhi because it's Terminal 2 and Terminal 3. So it's more about comfort, and they do come with a slightly premium price tag. And they also have frequent flyer programs, loyalty programs. So earlier I used to be loyal to Jet Airways. After they shut down, I shifted my loyalty to Vistara. So that's more kind of, paying me back for each and every flight I take. On the other hand, you have the second business model, which is LCC. It's called the low cost carrier model. In that case, it's airlines like Go Air, AirAsia, Indigo. These guys offer you only the seat for the price you pay. It doesn't include free seat selection. You'll have to pay for a window or an aisle seat. It doesn't have free meals on board. You'll have to purchase that separately. For each and everything, every small ancillary revenue where they can find it, they will get it. It includes something as small as priority baggage. If you want your bags to come first on the bed, pay up 200, 300. So their business model is based upon, is actually based for new generation travelers from India, not the upper 1% families of India. It's for everyone, and that's why you see AirAsia having that tagline, now everyone can fly. LCC enables you to fly more easily, and in India, around, I think, I'm not sure, but 70 to 80% of the market is controlled by LCCs. Indigo, Go Air, AirAsia. They are the ones controlling a majority of the stake. And that's why when you look at it, the aviation market in India is more inclined towards the LCC model, not towards the FSC model. And that is exactly why Jet Airways went down. So now coming back to your question, which is my most preferred airline. So obviously, like I said, my loyalty now stands with Vistara. So my most preferred airline for domestic travel is Vistara. For international, they have convenient partners like Singapore Airlines. I think they just recently added United, and it's a growing airline. So I'm sure 2 to 3 years down the line, they'll have a robust partner network. So that should sort my international travel as well. As far as LCC is concerned, I would say my best choice would be Indigo. Because Indigo has standardized service all across their aircrafts. On all routes it's standardized. I know how Indigo works, and I really hate their seats. Indigo, I would say they don't even have seat. It's like in Hindi we call that metal patra. That means a metal sheet. That's what we sit on. But considering that flights are not more than 2 to 3 hours in India, I'll be fine with it. Like I wouldn't crib about it. And I like Indigo because usually they are the most punctual.
Correct.
Technically,
Unlike SpiceJet.
going by stats, Go Air is the most punctual one. But I would still prefer Indigo because they have a larger network. It's easier to connect from city A to B to C. And otherwise also, there's nothing actually special about Indigo. Like Go Air, Indigo, AirAsia are literally the same. They don't really offer anything different. Shoot, I'm so sorry. I forgot SpiceJet in the whole LCC topic. I'm sorry, even SpiceJet is an LCC. And I've flown them a couple of times and I don't prefer flying SpiceJet because of their spotty safety record. And their pilots really crash the planes on the runway. Like, I've taken 8 or 9 flights up till now and just one of them wasn't just bumped onto the runway.
Also, in my opinion, they're always late.
So that's something, and SpiceJet aircrafts are not well maintained from the inside as well. Seats are broken, armchairs are not working, there's a lot of bad things going on over there. So I won't have SpiceJet as the first preference, but if I don't have a choice, I wouldn't actually even mind going them. Like I don't really mind flying any airline in India, except for Air India. I try my best to avoid it.
Why? Any specific reason?
So the thing is, I'll tell you an incident. I was coming from Delhi to Mumbai once on a Vistara flight, and Mumbai was experiencing very heavy rainfalls. And we tried to approach Mumbai, but we had to abort it, and we were transferred to Ahmedabad. We reached Ahmedabad at around 1 o'clock at night, and we were in the aircraft for 3 hours, hoping that Mumbai runway opens up, but it didn't. So they boarded us at Ahmedabad, took us to 5-star hotels, kept us over there for 12 hours until the aircraft can get out of Ahmedabad. Exactly when they got approval to fly to Mumbai is when they checked us out. It was super convenient. And that experience, just told me one thing, that if I book Vistara, I can be hassle-free. I don't have to worry about anything. Indigo folks who are stranded at the airport were just left at the airport for the next 12 to 16 hours. So that is one reason why I prefer Vistara. With Air India, it's more like I don't like to fly to them because even if I complain, nobody's gonna listen to my complaint. That is my point. Even with SpiceJet, I had issues with my SpiceMax upgraded seat on a few flights with SpiceJet. I just messaged them and they were like, you know what, we'll give you a refund. That's fair. I know Vistara will also follow the same protocol. With Air India, I'm not even sure whether I'll get an email back because I had a few issues with getting my miles credited on the Star Alliance network. Nobody has replied to my email for the last 6 months. I've sent around 4 to 5 emails. Nobody has gotten back to me.
Oh my god.
Their website feels like 2005. Their online check-in never works for me. Never works for me. I don't know what they have against the name Shivam, or am I on their no-fly list? But I can never check in online. And the whole lethargic government attitude that Air India has is what I don't like.
Yeah, that's
Like,
really bad.
people joke that, they have aunties as cabin crew. Honestly, I don't mind. I don't care about the age of the cabin crew.
Correct.
Even if it's an auntie, even if it's an old uncle, I just ask him, Bhaiya, up baith jao, main kaam kar leta hu." But that's not my concern. My concern is that they don't have enough superior management pressure, senior management pressure. That's why they just don't perform. Like there have been cases where I'm just sitting on the tarmac inside the plane for 3 hours because the pilots
3
are
hours?
coming from Mumbai and their flight is delayed. So my question is, why the F did you guys board us when your pilots aren't ready?
Exactly. Oh my god. So you spent literally 3 hours inside the plane? Wow.
Yup, 3 hours.
Amazing.
That's when I got furious. I started talking to the crew. I was standing in the middle of the aircraft and they threatened me that they'll call the CISF on me. I was like, cool, go ahead, you're just giving me my next article. What's the max that will happen? I can't fly Air India. I don't want to fly Air India anyways in the first place.
Wow, that's something. And yeah, I did have a query. Like, Jet Miles is now called Jet Airways.
Jet Privilege is now called Intermiles.
Yeah. I mean, what's the whole thing? Like now it's not owned by Jet Airways.
No,
so
no, no.
What
So the
exactly
thing
is it?
is, Jet Privilege, the whole program was spun off as a different entity a few years back when Etihad invested in Jet. Not a few years back, I think it was in 2013.
Okay.
When Etihad acquired around 21 or 23% stake in Jet. That's when it was spun off, and Etihad has 51% stake in Jet Privilege, and Jet Airways has 49%.
Okay.
So Jet Privilege as a program, as a separate independent company, was always profitable.
Oh, okay.
It was never in losses. Even when Jet went down, they had a lot of cash just sitting with them because they are a profitable business. So what they are doing now is, now that they don't have Jet Airways, their primary airline on which they were completely based, they've rebranded it to Intermiles, and now they are acting more like a booking agent, where the booking agent gives you loyalty points for booking it through them. So,
I see.
yes, so what happens now with Intermiles is, you just go to their site, like you go to Clear Trip, Make My Trip, Skyscanner, whatever. Just search up whichever flight you want, and it will show you that if you buy this flight, this is how many miles you earn. And according to those miles, you can also redeem a ticket using those miles. Obviously, earlier we used to consider 1 JP mile to be around 1 Indian rupee. I would say that has now dropped to 0.1 or 0.25.
Wow.
It doesn't really have as much worth that it used to have with Jet Airways, but it's still not a bad option if you buy your tickets yourself.
Okay.
Like, rather than going with Make My Trip and giving a convenience fee, it's better you just come to Intermiles and pay a convenience fee. At least you'll get the miles in return. And they are still having the tiers where, if you book 10 flights or 20 or 40 flights a year, you accordingly get a tier. So when I was with Jet Privilege, I was at Silver tier, and I'm still continuing that right now with Intermiles. So with that, if I book a ticket via them, they'll give me free complimentary meals and a couple of other things, I think. So those are kind of loyalty benefits that you're getting back. And considering that, they also have a lot of credit card options, hotel partners, it's really easy to earn miles, collect them, because I'm sure credit card, everyone swipes like tens of thousands on it. So in the background, if you're just getting miles for literally not doing anything more, I don't think that's a bad option.
Alright, let's take a quick coffee break. Talking about which, now you can literally buy me one. Yeah, just check out the link in the description. Not only can you support the podcast, but also opt for a membership which provides additional benefits. What kind of benefits, you might ask? Well, you get access to a members only Discord where we can game together with like-minded individuals. You might even recognize some familiar faces out there. You'll also get extra members only content, and you get to suggest guests and topics. And it's an ever-growing list of benefits. So if you like what you hear, just head over to buymeacoffee.com/YATP. Yeah, it's that simple. Pick your poison and voila, you're done. And now that the coffee break is over, let's resume with the episode.
So, now that we're talking about frequent flyer programs, the most recommended one right now for me would be Club Vistara, because they've added up Axis Bank as partner, so you can get a credit card easily, and that also comes with complimentary tier benefits. So, if you fly around a lot, I would say it's better to just select a network which suits you best, because my travel is always Mumbai, Delhi, Delhi, Bangalore, or Hyderabad, and
Metro cities.
Vistara serves all those routes. That's why I selected them. But if you go to any other tier 2 or any other unconventional route, then you can always go for Intermiles. And if you travel international frequently, I would say just be loyal to one program or one alliance, maybe One World, Star Alliance, or SkyTeam, whichever airline suits you.
Okay. So, as for someone who is completely, unaware of the tips and tricks, suppose I want to book a flight today. How should I approach it? I've heard about this. Like, some people say, like, suppose you have to fly in about 1 week's time.
Right.
So you should wait till the last moment to book a ticket, and like it's cheaper that way.
Yes. So it's actually a gamble.
Okay.
If you wait for the last moment, there is a possibility that the flight itself might be overbooked, or it's perfectly booked. And maybe even if a couple of seats are left, the airline will not reduce their price.
Okay.
They would want to charge you the premium for the last moment booking.
Okay.
So my recommendation for a 1 week flight was always just book it as soon as possible.
Okay.
Because the last moment funda doesn't really work.
Okay, how about this? You have a vacation 6 months down the line.
Right.
When should you book the tickets?
The sweet spot I would say is around 2 to 3 months before the vacation, because if you do it 6 months before, the airline has a slight estimate of how the load will be, but it still doesn't have a very clear idea of how the bookings are going. So they'll keep the fares raised enough.
Okay.
The fare which is comfortable for them.
Okay.
That's what will be there. Around before 3 months, it usually gets that they're now on the analyzing stage. How much is the aircraft load, and if there isn't much demand, the fares will drop.
And how should one book the tickets? Like, should they opt for not book my show?
Make my trip or
Make
Clear
my
trip or
trip.
something. Okay. So my suggestion is always searching first on Skyscanner, because Skyscanner is like an aggregator of airline aggregators. So
What a surprise!
yeah. So you can just have a slight idea over there that this is how my fare range or my segment should be. And after that, I would directly go to the airline's website, check out what fare are they offering, because I always recommend directly buying from the airline whenever possible.
Any specific reason why?
Always. So it's more like I cancel my ticket today. I have a ticket booked via ABC. I don't want to defame anyone. If I have a ticket booked by ABC, travel.com,
Okay.
and it's on Air India or Indigo or any airline, and if I want to cancel it, I'll have to talk to this third party person
Correct.
who's right in the middle. I can't talk directly to the airline. In a similar way, I would want that transparency to be there. Like, I've seen a lot of cases where the aggregator has just been like, yeah, we've reached out to the airline, you'll get your refund in the next 15 days, and it doesn't show up for a month.
Correct.
So it's better dealing with just one entity than dealing with two entities. And other than that, a few airlines have these, perks if you book with them directly. If you book your flight directly on Vistara.com, you'll get 250 miles just that way.
Oh, interesting.
And if you do it via any other aggregator, you won't get that. And I think Vistara, I think I saw this email yesterday, where if you fly 4 times with Vistara and you book your flight yourself, you'll get 1000 bonus miles.
Interesting.
So these are offers that you need to look out for.
Because people are mostly drawn towards the lower prices in apps, which
That's the case, right?
but they actually add up to
It's not
even
actually
more.
guaranteed whether the airline website will show you the lowest fare. It's not guaranteed. An aggregator may have a better fare, and if the difference is huge enough, then I would say go with the aggregator. It's okay. But if the difference isn't huge enough, and then it doesn't really matter. Like, just think about your convenience, because you don't want to be wrecking your brains
True.
just to get your refund.
Since you're talking about Vistara's loyalty program, what's the conversion like? Because I'm only aware of Jet. What is
It's
it?
a very
Privilege.
interesting question.
So because they used to send like some X amount of miles on my birthday, I always used to redeem Amazon gift card.
So I'm not really sure what is the current Vistara ka weightage,
okay.
because I think they just changed it slightly a month or two back.
Okay.
But from the idea that I have, a Mumbai to Delhi flight will cost you around 5,000 to 6,000 CV points.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, I'm not really sure about this right now. 5,000 to 6,000 is my best guess. It might be on the highest limit, could be 7,500.
Okay.
But I'll surely check this out today, because I need to update myself. I remember once, just like in November, I had redeemed my miles, and that costed me 5,000. But after that, they've, I think, made a few changes, so it may have gone up.
Oh, very noob question. Can you only redeem miles for flights, or can you also redeem it for any other
No.
stuff?
Club Vistara is restricted to miles.
Okay.
Jet Privilege gives you that option of getting something else, but
Yeah.
honestly, I would never recommend you do that because the value about it is like nothing, 0.05 rupee per mile.
Correct.
Like, I don't know what it costs, but I saw thousands of miles and I'm getting a 4 GB pen drive. Like, no, dude, don't want it.
I don't want to pen drive. As you being a AV geek, do you prefer to fly in economy or business?
Oh, definitely business. Always, always business.
You were
Baby.
thinking, Shimon, that's such a fucking dumb question.
So see, I'm gonna be very honest. When I'm flying, I'm a very, very pretentious person. Like, I'll try my best to get the 1 alpha seat or the exit row seat, any special seat, and I need priority boarding, priority check-in. That's like right now, if I'm flying, I need it. That's why I always, tell companies, please don't give Indigo. Please give me Vistara. I have privileges over there. But just kidding. But that's how I am. I'm I'm a very obnoxious flyer.
Are you one of those who just get up after the flight like, oh,
Definitely not. Definitely not. Like in that way, I would say I'm a very understanding flyer. I'll always follow the queue and always follow the protocols. But it's more like I'm very particular about what I want when I'm flying.
okay.
Like it's alright if you put me in a rickshaw, on a tricycle, or a car, or even a truck. I'm fine with it. But if it's a plane, I need it to be 100% perfect.
Okay. So do you prefer like window seat, aisle seat? Well, I'm not
Very
not,
good
not going
question.
to count
So
the middle
I've
seat.
had 131 flights till now, lifetime flights, and I'm pretty sure around 110, 115 of them have been on the window seat.
Oh, nice. I kind of prefer the aisle seat. I don't know why, but it feels.
I see a lot of people prefer aisle seat because if you want to go to the restroom, you don't have to
It's
disturb
not
the
because
other
of
two.
that. It's just like I feel like I have more space, although I don't.
That's true, but
That's like
I
placebo
prefer the
effect.
window seat because I always want to stare out of the window. Just see whatever's. I really can't see anything or even spot anyone on the ground, but it's still really fun to see. And I have this judgment scale while landing. कि in Hindi we would say कितना पटकेगा, how much will he bang? According to that,
Out of context, that sounds really bad. But yeah, that is in context to like how hard will the
how
plane
hard
hit
will the plane hit the
on the
runway?
ground. Which is the worst offender of this phenomenon?
It's
SpiceJet?
the Masala airline. I don't want to name them right now because they have this tendency of putting trolls behind my back. They
What?
just yeah. So SpiceJet, not just me, a lot of other journalists and people who have been vocal about SpiceJet's safety record and poor service. If they see that we are like journalists or something, they'll just unleash a group of trolls behind us.
Wow.
And they'll just be commenting, you call yourself a journalist, you are paid by Vistara.
Well, I wish.
I'm always like, I wish, bro.
Yeah.
Sanjeev, give me my money.
Vistara, if you're listening.
Sanjeev used to be the CSCO of Vistara, ex-CSCO. And he's like my mentor for the aviation industry.
Wow. It's very inspiring. So far, it's been really nice. Okay, how about some international flights?
Okay.
Alright? So, what kind of planes do you get in international flights? Like,
Okay, that's a really good question.
like the majority of.
So yeah, so I've already told you how the Indian narrow body aircraft look like. Narrow bodies are like single aisle,
Yeah, 3G.
3x3. Yeah, that's usually a narrow body, and a wide body is more like 3x4x3, 3x3x3, 2x4x2, whatever. It depends on the aircraft. So on the international routes, the most commonly found huge aircraft would be the 777, Boeing 777. It also has a lot of variants like 200, 300, 300 ER, 200 LR. ER stands for extended range and LR stands for long range. I don't know how the two of them are different, but
I was about to ask, like, what's the difference between ER and
so
LR?
they do have a difference in their what do we say range, but I don't remember what the two of their ranges were. Any which ways, they can easily carry around 300 passengers, more than 300 passengers, easily in a 2 or 3 class cabin, and that's the most commonly found one because it's a twin engine aircraft, so it's more power efficient against a 4 engine aircraft like a Boeing 747, because even though it can carry more people, ultimately efficiency is offered by 2 engines, not 4.
Okay.
So that's why you see a lot of airlines and modern aircraft designs completely shifting towards twin engine design. And that is exactly why the A380 was a failure. It was too huge. And with a huge aircraft like that, I can deploy this aircraft on a Mumbai-London route or a London-New York route. But I can't easily put this aircraft on maybe Cochin, London, or maybe Ahmedabad, London. I can swap the aircraft because there's not that much demand. And after the failure of the A380 is when airlines started developing a wide body aircraft that's not too huge and not too small. That's like right in the center, the sweet spot. And Boeing came up with the 787. Air India has, I think, more than 20 787s. They are called the Dreamliner. beautiful planes. Beautiful planes. The wings are built out of what do we say? Shoot, I forgot. What do we say that? Composite material.
Oh, okay.
They are built out of composite material. It's not aluminum, and the wings are naturally so curved. Oh God, how do I describe that? The engines are brand new. They make a lot lesser noise, and the window tints. There is no flap to close the window.
Oh.
It has a tint.
Oh.
Which you operate with a button and it starts getting darker or lighter.
Nice.
It's a really crazy aircraft and I'm really disappointed that Air India has a 787 because it's a disrespect for the 787.
Wow. Shots
Other
fired.
than that, Airbus also has a competing product. It's called the A350. Oh my god. I jokingly call it the eyeliner. The Dreamliner and the eyeliner because its cockpit windows are tinted black.
Oh.
So you can literally figure out that aircraft. If you look at it, it's very easy to figure, that's the A350. Like I can just look at the window tint and tell you it's the A350. Even their engine, the A350 is the most silent plane I've ever been on. Like
Interesting.
it's like it feels like it doesn't have engines.
Oh.
There are no vibrations, there's no noise at all. And Singapore Airlines has the A350, that's what I flew on. And man, the kind of job, the amazing job that they've done with the in-flight entertainment, the seats. I don't mind shifting to an A350 for the rest of my life. Like मेरे को cargo hold में जगह दे दो, I'll stay there for the next 2 years. It also has Wi-Fi,
Wow.
so I can also send my articles out.
What else do you need? Wait, considering all the large format planes, what's your preferred design or say size, like 333?
So I find the 777 to be very big, but it's also roomy.
Okay.
But there's just a lot of people filled in a small cabin.
Okay.
The A380 is the same. A380 is a wonderful aircraft. Trust me, it's an engineering marvel. But I don't really like it because it just looks ugly, I feel. No offense, but it just looks ugly. The top two aircrafts that I would prefer, that I would prefer is the A380, is the 747, the queen of the sky, the original queen of the sky, and secondly would be A350. Yeah, so A350 is like my favorite thing.
Like I said, you want to own a plane. What kind of plane would you buy? Like, yeah, of course, you won't buy a commercial plane.
Yeah,
like
so
flying
I,
300 people.
I actually don't know. It depends on how much I've been able to earn. I don't mind buying a $100,000 40-year-old Cessna 172. It's like a single engine plane.
With a propeller?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
propeller.
Okay.
The engine is located on the nose and it can carry around 4 people. I don't mind if I get that. I don't mind if I get a Gulfstream business jet for myself. And I don't even care if I start my own airline and have like tens of hundreds of Boeings and Airbus everywhere. It's like I don't really care about the aircraft as far as flying is concerned.
Hypothetically speaking, suppose you start your own airline. The like few points that you would make sure, like if I'm going to have my own airline, these are the salient points which should
In
be
India.
there. Anywhere. Okay,
Anyway,
let's start with India.
Let's start with India.
Okay.
So if I start an airline in India, I can be very sure to you, I'm gonna be like Indigo. It's the smartest airline in India. I will definitely not be a full service carrier because there's not enough demand in this market. LCC can fly well. But you know what? It's now literally impossible to start an airline in India. We don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the slots, we don't have that space to accommodate another airline. Because if you look at the industry right now, it's already, the supply is much more than the demand. That's why airfares here are dirt cheap. Trust me dude, they are dirt cheap. I booked a Mumbai-Mumbai flight on Vistara for 2,800.
That's cheap.
In the Philippines, 1 hour flight costed me around 8,000 Indian rupees, and that.
The fuck.
So you get my point, right? That there's too much demand, there's too much supply in the market right now. But if I'm gonna ever start my airline, unless our government loosens up on taxation and regulatory requirements, I'm not gonna start an airline here. Definitely not. If it has to happen, it may be in some African country, I would say, because I see a lot of economical growth in Africa. Just have a look at Rwanda. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's Rwanda. I usually say Rwanda, but that country is being expected to be Africa's Singapore. And even if you look at Ethiopian Airlines, man, done an amazing job with the kind of aircraft they've acquired. Like, they are going somewhere, that's for sure. That airline is connecting Mumbai, I think even Delhi. I'm not sure about Delhi, but Mumbai for sure. And a lot of times when I'm searching for tickets to South Africa or somewhere, I'll always find Ethiopian Airlines. So I find Africa to be the next big market. Europe is saturated. US is... I don't want to describe that. Russia is too hard for an outsider. It's near impossible for an outsider. Southeast Asia already has really good airlines like AirAsia, Lion Air, Philippine Airlines, Lion Air, Batik Air. There's a lot of them. So I don't even see scope over there, but Africa would be my next pick. Even for the internet, for the technology folks out there, Africa is where you should be.
Oh, why is that so?
It's an untapped market, dude. So I'll tell you something. Company stock, the investor pitches that I've seen so far have been like, India has 1.3 billion people, there's so much scope for growth, this and that. I'm like, our internet rates have been the cheapest since 2016. You know how AdSense earnings are. Like, even if they're browsing, even if they're watching 100 videos, they're not buying stuff.
Exactly.
They're not spending it back to the internet. So, India could be a market. It definitely is a market, but not right now. I think we have a very small online e-commerce based user base.
Oh, you think it's small?
Compared to the offline one, yes. It's much smaller. That's why, man, come on. How do Vivo and Oppo get market share?
True.
I can't even find their phones online. You go to any shop, they'll just be like, "Sir, keep iPhone aside. Check out Vivo. It has a 64 megapixel camera. The iPhone is 12. Man."
Wow. So considering international airlines, like you said in India, your topic would be Vistara, but as compared to like Indian airline, I mean international airlines.
So if I'm going to the Southeast Asia, my first preference is always Singapore Airlines because they are kind of a stakeholder, not kind of, they are a stakeholder in Vistara.
They are FSC as well?
They are FSC, yeah. Okay. Singapore Airlines is an FSC, it's an excellent FSC. So while I was coming back from Singapore to Manila, it was a Friday evening and I was completely in the mood of, partying. And the whole flight was empty. There were barely 30 people in a 777 economy.
Wow.
So I just went back to the crew, just stood there for 2 hours and I'm just talking to them. They're like so friendly, so open to everything.
Wow.
And the kind of insights I got, so I'll tell you, I'm not supposed to say this out loud. I won't say the cabin crew name or the flight number or anything, but he showed me the bunk beds that are located on the 777 where the pilots and the crew can go and rest. They're located on the upper top. And he showed me that. He's not really allowed to show me that, so...
No harm done.
No harm done. He also showed me where the cargo door is. How you can get from the passenger cabin to the cargo door. He just told me, so I can't open it for you. I'm like, cool, dude.
It's not like I'm going to steal some cargo, but still.
Now that we are talking about the internet, I just remembered I used Wi-Fi for the first time when I was going from Mumbai to Singapore on board a flight. It was the A380. Buddy, I can't describe that feeling. Like, okay, I'll just put it down in words. Imagine I'm sitting with a supercomputer in my hand. This is literally, you can call a phone a supercomputer. It can literally do anything. I have a supercomputer in my hand. It is sending out signals to a radome, RADOME. A radome is like a dome which you will see on the top of aircrafts. That radome has the antenna and the router. So my messages from my phone are going to the radome. The radome is communicating with satellites which are like hundreds, maybe not thousands of kilometers above us. And it's not just one. There's at least 3 to 4 around. So that there's triangulation as well as ease of connectivity. And that satellite is bouncing off my ones and zeros, a lot of ones and zeros, down to Earth. There's a receiving station somewhere. That thing is taking up my ones and zeros, putting it in a cable and sending it across the Atlantic to US. That's where I'm using Instagram, Facebook, the primary servers are. and the whole process is being repeated again. Can you imagine the engineering behind this? Like you're at 30,000, 35, 40,000 feet, cruising at 900 kilometers per hour, and still exchanging ones and zeros.
That's pretty fascinating. So how much was the speed? I mean, I can't imagine like it's
So
super fast.
I actually am a very good cheapo. So I went with the cheapest plan available on Singapore Airlines. It was like $4 for 30 MB, and it was restricted to chatting only. So that's what they call the plan. It's the chatting plan.
Okay.
If you want streaming or something, you can go for the $10 or $15 plan. But yes, I'm a cheapo. Yeah, so I went with the cheapest one.
We all are cheapos.
But I just texted my mom. I'm like, Mom,
I'm
I'm
the
at
plan."
40,000 feet and I'm texting you. Hello.
I'm pretty sure you must have tried some other apps as well. Okay, I'm in chatting tier, but I will still use Instagram and see if it works.
It didn't work.
Oh.
It didn't work. So what I'm assuming is they have a
Firewall of sorts?
firewall or something that only limits you to chatting apps, because I could use Messenger, WhatsApp, even iMessage, but no Instagram. I can't even load a normal HTML 1 KB file on the browser.
Wow. So is it like linked to only one device? Like per device you have to pay $4 or?
I'm sorry, but I didn't really check that.
So you only connected like your iPhone?
Yeah,
back
I just
then?
connected my iPhone. Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
Like the whole feeling that I'm even able to send one message was fine. Like that's where my $4 were 100% worth it. And I'm actually personally very glad we don't have in-flight Wi-Fi in India, because I do the Mumbai-Delhi trips too often, and those 2 hours are like off time for me. Like nobody in this world can disturb me. I am way above you, literally, quite literally. I don't know, man. I don't want Wi-Fi. I don't want in-flight Wi-Fi.
You just so what do you do usually? Like, do you sleep or do you watch
I
some
cannot
movies?
sleep on flights. Even if I do, it will be really dynamic. Like every 5 minutes, I'll get up.
Okay.
I can't really sleep on flights. Even if it's a long 8-hour, 10-hour flight, I
Okay.
can't sleep on them. So
What's the longest flight you've ever been
longest
to?
flight I've been on has been, I think, 9 hours, Mumbai London, and then I went from London to Dallas Fort Worth. So that must be another 9 to 10 hours.
Okay.
That's the longest. I think
think-
someday soon for CES or something, I'll fly via Air India or United, Delhi to SFO or Delhi to Newark.
Mine was, I guess, 8 hours. I went from Delhi to Taipei.
Ah.
I slept thrice and still like flight khatam nahi hui hai. What is this?
So in flight, what I'm doing is watching movies, or just listening to music, or maybe reading a book, checking out the in-flight magazine. So I just find something, and if it's a long haul flight and a wide body, then what I usually do is, after the meal service is over, after an hour I just go back to the aircraft, go to the back of the aircraft, and just start talking to the cabin crew.
So usually they're like up for a conversation, or
It depends on
they
the
like
airline. It really depends on the airline and the staff, because in India I've tried this, but in India it doesn't work. I'll be very honest. In India it doesn't work because our flights are too short, and even if they are international, the crew is just not that.
I think it's an Indian thing.
Yeah, like I don't know why. Like I've spoken to a lot of pilots, and they've been very open about it, but not the cabin crew of India. I've been on Singapore Airlines, British Airways, Malaysia Airlines, and I've always went to the back and just grabbed someone and just started talking to them, like whatever. Tell me about your country, tell me about your culture, whatever you can tell me, just tell me. I'm fine. But not really happening in India.
I think Indians get annoyed, like, why are you wasting my time? Go back to your seat.
I wouldn't say that. So this is a kind of a difficult thing to say, but that majority of the cabin crew in India are female, and you also know.
Yes, I know where this is heading.
You know where this is heading. So I don't really blame them for their behavior.
Correct.
It's alright. I would say it's just a cultural difference.
Aye.
So I try to get the most when I'm outside of the country.
This is what I experienced. Like when I was going to Europe, I flew via Finnair, and the crew was so nice, super nice. You could easily talk to them, and have a conversation. Even they were just asking some random
Dude,
questions.
so the best thing was when I was coming back from Singapore to Mumbai, I just told the cabin crew, I was like, bro, this is a Friday evening and I'm flying back to the shittiest country. I love my country, but I still find it to be the shittiest country. I'm sorry, but I'm flying back to the shittiest country after a really nice vacation. So keep the drinks brimming. And he was so on point with it.
Yeah, the alcohol on international flights are amazing.
Though honestly, I would say just don't drink on flights.
Why?
The pressure really messes up your brain.
Oh, is it? I just.
It really makes you more drunk, makes you more sleepy, and it's risky if you just have a 5 to 6 hour flight, because then you don't really get to cool off. And when you get off the plane and you have to go through customs and immigrations, your brain is just like beating all around. So I would just say my recommendation would be don't get drunk on flights or before flights.
Where can people find you on the internet?
So I'm on Instagram, but it's a private profile. So I would actually prefer if you message me on Twitter. It's @Shivam Vahia, SHIVAM and otherwise just ping me on Twitter or search me up on Facebook. There's just one Shivam Vahia on this planet, so you can also Google me.
That's the thing with unique names. Like you don't get many Shimondas out
I'm
there.
so happy I have a shitty name. I'm so happy.
Hey, at least you don't deal with misspells and mispronunciations.
Oh yes.
That's my life.
So when I was in the Philippines, it's really hard for them to pronounce Shivam. So they'll be Shivam. I like, just chill, dude. Just call me shit. It's fine.
Alright, man. It was really fun talking to you. And we shall
Same here,
continue.
mate.
will see
I
you
hope
on the
I
internet.
contributed a lot of aviation stuff to your otherwise technology
very,
channel.
Very fascinating. I mean, aviation is technology, right?
Aviation is technology. Yeah, like this is how I cover up or give a justification.
Alright, man. I'll see you on the internet.
Sure. Same here, mate. Bye bye.
Alright, folks, that's all for this episode. I hope you liked it. And if you did, like, share, subscribe, do your thing. And if you have any questions, just head over to Twitter. As usual, all the usernames and links will be in the show notes in the description below. And as always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.